When 8-year-old Lily came home from her grandparents' house crying so hard she could barely breathe, I knew something was wrong. My daughter usually adored weekends at my parents' place. My mother spoiled her with homemade cookies. My father let her help in the garden. But that Sunday evening, Lily clutched a small silver box to her chest like it was poison. "What happened?" I asked, kneeling beside her. She shook her head violently. "I don't want it." My husband Marcus took the box carefully. "Did Grandma and Grandpa upset you?" Lily's lip trembled. "They said it was my special gift because Mommy lies." The words hit me like ice water. Marcus and I exchanged a stunned look. My parents and I had always had a strained relationship, but involving Lily crossed a line I never imagined they'd touch. I opened the silver box slowly. Inside was an old hospital bracelet. Not mine. Lily's. "Ask your mommy who your real family is." Marcus stared at me. "What the hell is this?" Lily burst into fresh tears. "Grandma said you stole me from somebody." I hugged her tightly while my own hands shook. My parents knew exactly what they were doing. They had waited until Lily was old enough to understand enough words to hurt deeply. Marcus took a breath. "We need answers. Tonight." But I already knew what this was about. A secret buried 8 years earlier. A secret my parents never forgave me for keeping. That terrified me more than anything. After Lily finally fell asleep curled beside me, Marcus and I sat in silence at the kitchen table. "You need to tell me everything," he said softly. I nodded slowly. "Lily isn't biologically mine." Marcus blinked. I rushed on before he could speak. "I adopted her when she was 6 weeks old. You know that part. But there's more." The truth tasted bitter after all these years. When I was 23, I worked at a women's shelter. One of the girls there, Sabrina, was 17 and pregnant. Her family threw her out. The baby's father disappeared. She had nothing. Marcus listened carefully. She gave birth early. Complications. She almost died. I swallowed hard. Before surgery, she begged me to promise her daughter wouldn't go into foster care. The envelope arrived on a rainy Tuesday morning. I knew it was bad news the second I saw the law office stamp across the front. Marcus opened it while I stood frozen beside the kitchen counter, clutching my coffee mug so tightly my fingers hurt. "They filed," he said quietly. "For custody?" I whispered. He shook his head. "Visitation rights." Relief almost came, until our lawyer Denise called an hour later. "Do not underestimate this," she warned over speakerphone. "Visitation cases can create emotional leverage. If the court grants ongoing family access, they may later attempt a stronger claim." Marcus rubbed his face in frustration. "This is insane. Lily already has parents." Lily looked up at him with watery eyes. "She wanted Mom to raise me." Marcus smiled softly. "I know." For the first time since the terrible gift box arrived, peace settled over the room. Not perfect peace. The court battle still waited ahead. My mother still lurked like a storm cloud over our lives. She had never been unwanted. Not by Sabrina. 3 days after Lily read Sabrina's letter, Marcus burst into the bedroom holding his phone with fury written all over his face. "You need to see this right now." My stomach dropped instantly. He handed me the screen. Dozens of them. Birthday parties. School concerts. Family vacations. Pictures my mother had copied from old social media posts years ago. And above them, my mother had written, "A stolen child deserves the truth." My hands started shaking violently. Underneath the post were hundreds of comments from strangers arguing about whether I was a hero or a kidnapper. Some people defended me. Others called me disgusting. A few even demanded police involvement despite the adoption being completely legal. Worst of all, Lily's full name was visible. Marcus immediately grabbed his keys. "I'm calling Denise." But I couldn't move. I just kept staring at the pictures. One photo showed Lily asleep on my chest as a newborn. My mother had captioned it. She pretended to be a mother from day one. Pretended. The word sliced through me. 8 years of scraped knees, fevers, bedtime stories, nightmares, school lunches, hugs, tears, and love, and my mother still thought it was pretend. Suddenly Lily appeared in the hallway, rubbing her eyes sleepily. I quickly locked the phone screen, but she'd already seen my face. Is Grandma being mean again? Lily looked confused. Why does she hate us? No answer came, because I honestly didn't know anymore. Later that afternoon, Denise arrived at our house personally. She looked furious. This crosses several lines, she said while scrolling through screenshots. Public harassment. Emotional harm to a minor. Defamation. Oh, we're going to try. For the first time since all this started, Denise didn't sound cautious. She sounded angry. And honestly,
so was I.
That night I sat alone at the kitchen table long after everyone slept. Rain pounded softly against the windows while my mother's words replayed in my mind over and over. I thought about every moment with Lily since the day I first held her tiny body in the hospital NICU. The nurses had warned me she might not survive the week because of complications after birth. But she did survive. Because I stayed. Because I fought for her. Because I loved her long before she ever called me Mom. And suddenly something inside me hardened completely. My mother wanted war. Fine. But this time, I was done protecting her reputation while she destroyed my child. The courtroom felt colder than I expected. Lily stayed home with Marcus' sister while Marcus and I sat beside Denise, waiting for the hearing to begin. Across the room, my mother sat stiffly in a navy blazer beside Carla and their attorney. She wouldn't look at me. Good. Because if she had, she would have seen exactly how much I hated her now. The judge entered promptly at 9 o'clock, and within minutes Denise began dismantling their case piece by piece. First came the adoption records. Every signature. Every legal approval. Every document proving Sabrina knowingly and willingly placed Lily into my care. Then Denise presented shelter testimony from former staff members confirming Sabrina repeatedly asked for me specifically during her final days. My mother's attorney tried objecting twice. The judge shut him down both times. Denise connected her laptop to the courtroom speakers. I'd like to present recorded evidence from a phone conversation obtained legally in this state, she announced calmly. My mother's face drained of color instantly. A recording filled the courtroom. Her voice.
Clear as day.
She needs to know her fake mother ruined lives. Even Carla looked disturbed. My mother shifted uncomfortably in her seat. That was taken out of context. Denise didn't even blink. Was this out of context too? Another clip played. My chest tightened. There it was. Finally. The truth. Not justice. Not concern for Lily. Possession. Jealousy. The judge removed his glasses slowly and stared directly at my mother. For the first time in my entire life, I watched my mother lose control publicly. You don't understand, she snapped suddenly. Claire manipulated that girl from the beginning. The courtroom fell silent again. My mother's breathing turned uneven. Her perfect mask was finally cracking. And underneath it was something ugly and desperate. They're done. But even then, I didn't feel victorious. I just felt exhausted. Because winning against your own mother still feels like losing something. The judge's ruling came 4 days later. I barely slept during those 4 days. Every ring of the phone made my heart race. Every unknown car outside the house made me paranoid. Lily noticed the tension too. She became clingier, following me from room to room like she feared I might disappear if she stopped watching me. The trauma my mother caused lingered everywhere. When Denise finally called, Marcus immediately put her on speaker. Well, he asked tightly. A pause. The petition has been denied. I stopped breathing. Denise continued calmly. The court found no legal or emotional basis for visitation rights. Additionally, the judge approved the restraining order request against Diane Harper regarding further harassment of Lily. Marcus let out a long breath and covered his eyes. I burst into tears instantly. It was over. Finally over. Lily ran into the kitchen at the sound of my crying. Mom, what happened? We're okay, I whispered shakily. Nobody's taking you away. Her little body relaxed against mine so suddenly it broke my heart all over again. Because no child should ever carry that kind of fear. But later that night, after Lily went to sleep, I sat quietly on the back porch staring into the darkness. Marcus joined me with 2 blankets. You should feel happy, he said gently.
Ido.
But it wasn't that simple. Marcus wrapped an arm around me. You didn't cause this. I know, but grief still lingered. Not grief for the relationship I had with my mother. No, I grieved the mother I wished I'd had. The kind who would have protected my daughter instead of hurting her. Marcus kissed my forehead softly. You're already that mother, he whispered. And for the first time all night, I finally believed him. Healing didn't happen all at once. There was no magical morning where Lily suddenly forgot everything and life returned to normal. Trauma doesn't work that way. Sometimes she asked random questions out of nowhere. Do you think Sabrina would have liked my drawings? Why didn't Grandma love me enough? Can people stop being family? But slowly, little by little, peace returned. Marcus suggested family counseling, and to my surprise, Lily actually enjoyed it. Her therapist helped her untangle emotions far too complicated for an 8-year-old to carry alone. One Saturday afternoon in early spring, Lily came running into the kitchen holding seed packets excitedly. Can we plant flowers for Sabrina? The request caught me off guard. She liked yellow, right? I smiled softly.
Yeah.
Sunflowers. So the 3 of us spent the afternoon in the backyard digging beneath warm sunlight. Lily took the job very seriously, carefully placing each seed into the soil like it mattered deeply. Marcus wiped dirt from his hands and laughed. You know these things might grow taller than the fence. That's good, Lily declared proudly. Then Sabrina can see them from heaven. When we finished planting, Lily sat cross-legged in the grass looking unusually thoughtful. Mom, yeah, sweetheart. I swallowed hard. You do. She nodded. Sabrina gave me life. You gave me home. Marcus squeezed my shoulder quietly beside me. For months, fear had dominated our lives. Fear of losing each other. Fear of truth. Fear of damage that couldn't be repaired. But sitting there in the sunlight with dirt under our fingernails, I realized something important. Love had survived all of it. Not perfect love. Not easy love. Real love. And maybe that mattered more than blood ever could. A year later, life looked completely different. The nightmares faded. And my mother became nothing more than a painful silence none of us talked about anymore. Lily turned 9 that summer. For her birthday, she insisted on a small backyard party with homemade cupcakes and sunflower decorations everywhere. Marcus joked that our house looked like a tiny farm exploded, but Lily loved every second of it. That evening after the guests left, she handed me a folded packet of papers tied together with string. What's this?
I asked.
My school project, she said proudly. But I saved it for you first. My hero. Inside were drawings and handwritten pages about our family. Lily had filled every page with memories, baking cookies together, bedtime stories, beach trips, movie nights on the couch. Then I reached the final page. Underneath, Lily had written, Some moms give birth to you. Some moms save you. Mine did both. My vision blurred instantly. Marcus looked over my shoulder and covered his mouth quietly. Lily suddenly looked nervous. Do you like it? I pulled her into my arms so fast she squealed. Like it? I cried through tears. It's the best thing I've ever read. She hugged me tightly back. And in that moment, every horrible thing my parents had done lost its power completely. The lies, the court battle, the humiliation. None of it changed the truth. Not because of paperwork, not because of biology, because every single day, we chose each other. Later that night, after Lily fell asleep, I stood alone in the backyard staring at the tall sunflowers swaying gently in the summer wind. And the truth changed everything. Not because it broke us, because it finally set us free. The first holiday season after the court case felt strangely quiet. Every Thanksgiving of my childhood had been loud, tense, and exhausting. My mother controlled every detail, from where people sat to how long the turkey rested before dinner. Someone always left angry, usually me. Marcus carved the turkey, while Lily carefully arranged sunflower-shaped napkins beside each plate. Christmas music played softly in the background, and for once, nobody criticized anything. Still, one empty feeling lingered. My father. During dinner, Lily noticed the extra chair beside the table. Who's that seat for? I miss him. Marcus nodded slowly. I know. The problem was complicated. My father failed us. He stood beside my mother while she destroyed Lily emotionally. Even after realizing the truth, he stayed silent too long. But he also tried to warn me in the end. And somehow that made everything harder. 2 days later, I found an envelope in the mailbox. No return address. Then she surprised both of us. I want to put Sabrina and you. Tears filled my eyes instantly. You can absolutely do that. For the next hour, the three of us worked together drawing branches carefully across poster board. Lily added Marcus, me, Sabrina, and even Marcus' sister Jenna. But when she reached the section for grandparents, she stopped. Do I have to put grandma? The room fell silent. I looked at Marcus before answering honestly.
No.
Lily slowly wrote only one name instead. Grandpa Thomas. Something about that nearly broke me. Because despite everything, my daughter still saw goodness in the one person who finally tried to change. And maybe that mattered. In February, my mother's sister called unexpectedly. My grandmother had died. The news hit strangely. She and I weren't close, mostly because my mother controlled every family gathering so completely that real relationships rarely survived around her. Still, grief lingered unexpectedly. Then came the harder part, the funeral. Marcus immediately understood my hesitation. You don't have to go. But deep down, I knew I needed to. Not for my mother. For closure. The funeral home smelled like lilies and old wood polish. Relatives whispered awkwardly as Marcus and I entered holding Lily's hand tightly. Then I saw my mother standing near the casket. For a moment, neither of us moved. She looked thinner.
Exhausted.
Angry. Like bitterness had finally started eating her alive from the inside. Lily squeezed my hand nervously. My mother noticed immediately. And despite the restraining order, she took one slow step forward. You've turned her against me, she whispered. The accusation stunned me. After everything she'd done, she still saw herself as the victim.
No, y answered quietly.
You did that yourself. Something flickered across her face then. Not guilt. Not remorse.
Loss.
Realizing too late, she had destroyed her own family. But instead of apologizing, she straightened coldly. You'll regret keeping her from me. Marcus moved protectively closer immediately. I simply looked at my mother calmly and said the words I should have said years ago. I already regret letting you near her at all. And for the first time in my life, I walked away from her without feeling guilty.